नमस्कार, मैं हूँ राजनंदनी शर्मा और आप देख रहे हैं वीकली राउंडअप। वीकली राउंडअप में हम हर हफ्ते इवेंट्स, प्रोग्राम्स और जो भी गतिविधियाँ होती है इंडियन डायस्पोरा में उसकी बात करते हैं। कम्युनिटी इवेंट्स से लेकर हम लोग जितनी भी कवरेज होती है वो आप तक पहुँचाने की हर हफ्ते कोशिश करते हैं। इस हफ्ते भी मैं आपके लिए कुछ इवेंट्स लेकर आई हूँ। बिना देरी के शुरू करते हैं। सबसे पहले मैं शुरू करना चाहूँगी जो हमारा इवेंट है गणगौर का, जो राजस्थान एसोसिएशन ऑफ यूके ने यहाँ लंदन में ऑर्गेनाइज किया था, उसके बारे में। जो गणगौर फेस्टिवल है राजस्थान में मनाया जाता है और यहाँ पर लंदन में इसको ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया। कैंटन में एक स्कूल है वहाँ पर, और वहाँ पर काफ़ी कल्चरल परफॉर्मेंसेस हुए, डांसेस हुए, काफ़ी हंसी मजाक कहूँ, गीत कहूँ, जो भी कुछ एक कल्चरल प्रोग्राम में आप देखना चाहेंगे वो सब कुछ हुआ। और राजस्थान की जो एक झलक है वो इस इवेंट में देखने को मिली। आइए देखते हैं क्या कुछ हुआ वहाँ पर।
Take a step. इसको आगे पकड़ने के लिए रखो।
हाँ
पीछे आ जाओ।
और पीछे आप, हाँ दोनों तरफ, दोनों तरफ
आगे आगे। अरे बजाओ रे,
बजाओ, ढोल बजाओ। आज गणगौर के त्यौहार पे राजस्थानी समाज यूके यहाँ पे इकट्ठा हुआ है लंदन में। हमने लास्ट वीक मैनचेस्टर में किया था, वहाँ पे मैनचेस्टर की जनता ने काफ़ी हर्षोल्लास से मनाया था और आज लंदन के अंदर उसी हर्षोल्लास के साथ ये गणगौर का त्यौहार मनाया गया है। सवारी निकाली गई है, लोगों ने डांस एंजॉय, राजस्थानी फूड, सबने मस्ती करी है। थैंक यू।
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम डॉक्टर रजनी शर्मा तिवारी है और ये मेरी 5th गणगौर है आर यूके के साथ। और हमेशा ऐसा लगता है कि किसी परिवार के साथ हम इकट्ठे हुए हैं। राजस्थान से दूर एक राजस्थान है हमारा और बहुत अच्छा अनुभव था। वो संगीत, वो गीत, वो पूजा, वो प्रेम और वो भोजन, उससे बहुत आनंद आ गया। और मैं आशा करती हूँ कि लोग आगे और जुड़ेंगे हमारे ग्रुप से और उसी राजस्थानी आनंद को फिर से यहाँ लंदन में अनुभव करना चाहेंगे। नमस्कार। 1 2 3 गो। सोना री धरती जठे, चांदी रो आसमान, रंग रंगीलो छैल छबीलो, मारो प्यारो राजस्थान। ईसरदास जी तो पेचा बांधे, गोराबाई पेच सवारे हो राज, गोराबाई पेच सवारे हो राज। मैं ही सरता की साड़ी छा, मैं ही सरता की साड़ी छा, साड़ी छा मत वाली ओ राज, केसर पटाकर वाली ओ राज, बासर की सी क्यारी ओ राज, लूंगा की सी बड़ी ओ राज। मैं ही सरथा की साड़ी छा, मैं ही सरथा की साड़ी छा।
बढ़ते हैं हमारे अगले इवेंट की तरफ। नेहरू सेंटर में एक बुक लॉन्च हुई। कैरल वर्नर एक ऑथर हैं जिनकी बुक द 3 लाइव्स ऑफ चेक योगी एंड बियॉन्ड, इस बुक का लॉन्च किया गया। उनकी ही वाइफ ने इस बुक को वहाँ पर लॉन्च किया और वो कैरल वर्नर अब इस दुनिया में नहीं है, तो उनके बारे में, उनकी जो जर्नी थी उसके बारे में भी काफ़ी डिस्कशन हुआ उस बुक लॉन्च इवेंट में। आइए देखते हैं क्या कुछ हुआ और कैसा रहा पूरा इवेंट।
Namaskar and good evening to distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to the Nehru Center. Today we all are gathered for a book launch of 3 lives of a Czech yogi and beyond. The book is in 2 volumes. It's an autobiography of Dr. Karel Werner. The book is edited by his wife, Marian Werner. Dr. Karel Werner's journey was one of the resilience, determination and unwavering commitment to his passion. From his early collaborations with Professor Vincent at Olomouc University to his tenure at Durham University as a standing lecturer in the Indian philosophy and religion, Dr. Werner's contributions have left an indelible mark on the academic and spiritual landscape. Tonight, as we delve into the pages of his autobiography, edited by his wife, Mrs. Marian, we are reminded of Dr. Karel's unwavering spirit in the face of adversity. We are honored to have esteemed speakers as speakers who will share their insights and reflections on Dr. Karel's life and work. Dr. Desmond, President of the Buddhist Society UK, and Professor Peter Fluger will offer their perspectives on Dr. Werner's contributions to academia and his profound influence on the study of Indian religion and philosophy. I request both of you to take over the stage for today's program. I thank you all.
A very great Indologist called Professor Vincent Lesney, who had attended the same primary school 42 years earlier. So I commissioned a plaque for the wall of the primary school in Niemnice, and we're going to see just 2 minutes to begin with of the Czech television version of the unveiling of the plaque. Now the words are all in Czech, which I don't understand any more than you will understand, apart from one gentleman here from the Czech embassy who will certainly understand every word. But first of all, we're going to play it with the sound, because apart from the words in Czech, there is a wonderful brass fanfare played by students from the secondary school in Niemnice, that the teacher is briefly seen playing a bass trombone, and then you'll see the three lovely students from the secondary school, one of them on a French horn, two of them on trumpets. I had no idea there was going to be a fanfare. So you'll hear all that, and then we will dim the sound, and I will do a voiceover for 2 minutes telling you what exactly is happening, because unfortunately you don't understand the Czech any more than I do. So we're going to show the video. I'm going to move out of the way because I shall block the screen, and Raghu is kindly going to come and see to that for me.
Vincent Lesný má muzeum v Komárovicích a dokonce ho navštívil i indický velvyslanec. O Lesném se točí film, jehož premiéra bude v kině Lucerna v Praze 9. dubna. Karel Werner by tento den, tedy 12. ledna, oslavil své 99. narozeniny. Při odhalení desky nechyběla ani rodina pana Wernera.
Já jsem toho dědu poznal vlastně poprvé v nějakém 96. roce, kdy on vlastně, když se to tady uvolnil a mohl jsem začít znova jezdit do té republiky, tak vlastně začal pátrat jakoby po těch svých potomcích. Jo. Takže vlastně já jsem jednou přišel domů a tam seděl člověk, který se předtím nikdy neviděl, cizí, a říkal: ahoj, já jsem tvůj děda. Že? Takže tím jako začal náš vztah, a když jsem jezdil, tak jsme se prostě začali jako potkávat, protože jsem jezdil často, chtěli od něm občas tady přednášel.
It's a great honor to be able to say something about Carol. It's a joy as much as an honor. We at the Buddhist Society are very interested really in how knowledge from the East, let's just put it like that, has come to the West. And we generally tend to think of it through the Theosophical Society and through various philosophical school people like Schopenhauer and so on, and odds and ends scattered throughout various disciplines. Of course, there was the great translator Max Muller, who was a German who spent his years in Oxford. But Carol is a very unique character, a unique man with a variety of skills. And it was a great pleasure to have known him. And his lectures were never completely predictable with what he was going to say. It was never followed the normal line. And I loved introducing him and listening to his talks, right up until the end, and a great joy. But he was, just to say very quickly, he was an Indologist, an Orientalist, a religious studies scholar, a philosophy of religion, and also actually a practicing Buddhist and a practicing yogi, insofar as he did practice Hatha Yoga. But of course one just thinks of Hatha Yoga, now identified with yoga, that seems to be all. But Hatha Yoga is just a branch of Indian religion, and one forgets that. But that's what it is. But he had great knowledge and depth of all branches of Indian religion, but we thought of him as a scholar devotee of Buddhism. One thing that
studied Sanskrit and classical Chinese in the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia, whatever it was called before the post-war period, and was able to teach at a number of universities shortly after the war for 4 years. Then it was prohibited to teach Indian philosophy and religion, and comparative religion, which is very interesting. The communists were strictly against it, and they removed him from the university. He was not given a job in the University of Prague, and he had to work in the mines, and later as a tram driver and so on, for 15 years or so. Nevertheless, he kept up his interest in Indian philosophy in particular, and continued to study Sanskrit, Pali, and Chinese, which is amazing, very difficult languages, and also practiced as a yogi. Therefore, you can see here the epithet a Czech yogi, and he founded a society for yogic sciences. I can't remember the exact titles, but they're all recorded here in these fantastic volumes. And undercover, as it were, a group of aficionados, those were practicing yoga under his instruction. Of course, he was also teaching friends in the philosophy which he was passionate about. And of course, we can understand that he was a strict anti-communist when he came to the UK, and basically his passion for India was suppressed, and he could only breathe the fresh air of freedom, as he described it, after leaving the plane in the UK. Which my publisher in Bratislava has asked me to write, as there was nothing in Czech on the subject. 2 books had been assembled after the war, but the authors were not allowed to publish them under communism. In addition to writing the text, I selected a large number of photographs, most of them in color, to demonstrate the beauty of the artifacts associated with this ancient religion. I included my photographs taken at Elora on my sabbatical leave. That spring I had several discussions at Seoul with Dr. Peter Flügel, the lecturer of Jainism. In June I was still working hard on the book and was intrigued by the ideas in Jainism about Nigodas. These are the tiniest living creatures, invisible to the eye, theoretical for all practical purposes, atoms. But I needed further information than I had to hand, and on 13th September I travelled up to town to hunt for more books about Jainism. When the work was completed, I dated the introduction 10 October 2013. In the bibliography, I listed 6 of Peter Flügel's publications. I find that's remarkable to put something like this in a book of this encyclopedic nature. On 18 January 2014, I received a copy of Jainismus from Mr. Ribal. Although I was pleased to see the book finally published, I was surprised that he had included an excessive number of color photographs, etc., etc. So you get a sense of the book. It is really like a diary, and extraordinarily precise. I could not remember so much.
Symposium, Spalding Symposium on Indian philosophy, which is still extant today, and Peter has lectured at it, and it's attracted scholars from all over the world. And the publishing of the essays and articles and talks, this is just one of them, Symbols in Art and Religion, and on the front is my drawing of an Ashokan pillar like this. I did the drawing on the front, and I actually got paid for it. I can't remember how much, probably 50p or something, but anyway, that's one of the things. Now, I've talked a little bit about Professor Leslie, Vincent Leslie, which is an extraordinary story, and I have here a lovely book about him, in English, fortunately, Vincent Leslie and Indian Studies, and the foreword is by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, who met him many times and speaks very glowingly. I haven't got time to read much from it, but she is full of praise for this great professor who learnt Bengali. He was very fluent in Bengali, of course, a great expert in Sanskrit, also translated many poems of Rabindranath Tagore, and was a great friend of Tagore as well. He lived in India for a little while. Now, the connection between Carol and Vincent Leslie is complicated. In 1947-48, Carol was at, as you've heard, he was at Olomouc University, a very famous university in Moravia, teaching Sanskrit and collaborating with Vincent Leslie, who was at Charles University in Prague. And Vincent Leslie used to come regularly every week to collaborate with Carol on the teaching of Sanskrit. But, as you've heard, when the communists came in, Carol lost his post at the university in Olomouc. But Professor Leslie wrote to him and said, "Mr. colleague, don't worry, I've got a post for you here at Charles University in Prague." The communists wouldn't let Carol take it, and you've heard already that Carol had to become a coal miner, tram driver and so on for nearly 20 years.
आज की वीकली राउंडअप में बस इतना ही। अगले हफ्ते फिर मिलूंगी ऐसे ही कुछ इवेंट्स और प्रोग्राम्स के साथ। तब तक के लिए देखते रहिए एमए टीवी, योर चैनल ऑफ चॉइस।